exploring Flexbox and Tailwind is quite simple. So let's have this one parent div in which there are another divs, right? So let's design these internal divs first. Let's give them the classes H16, W16, and rounded full. So we are just trying to make them into a circle. And let's give them some different colors. So BG blue 500, BG orange 500, and BG green 500. All right. And now let's give some classes to the parent div also. So class equals to flex, justify end, space x6, and empty2. All right. So here flex basically enables your flex box. Justify end aligns items to the right. Space x6 adds spacing between the items, and empty2 adds margin top for spacing. And rounded full, you people know that it makes the div circular. Now this creates three circles aligned to the right. If you change justify end to justify around, so it will space them evenly. Justify between, on other hand, will give them equal gaps, and justify center centers them. Creating a column layout in Flexbox is also very easy. To make the circles stack vertically, use flex call. Flex call, and then let's use justify center and items center and space y6. So flex call basically stacks them vertically in the column. Justify center centers items vertically, and item center centers item horizontally. Space y6 adds vertical spacing between the elements. Now the circles are arranged vertically instead of side by side. These could be divs, images, or buttons. You control the layout. You understand that. So one more thing is that you know about CSS. It's just rectangles everywhere. Everything on a web page is just a series of rectangles, right? You can go to the preview window, again a rectangle. The button, a rectangle, even if it is rounded, by the way. This is why Flexbox is so powerful. It lets you position these rectangles however you want. Want to practice Flexbox? Try Flexbox Froggy. A fun way to learn Flexbox is Flexbox Froggy, a game where you move a frog into a pound using Flexbox properties. For example, setting justify content to flex end moves the frog to the right. The levels get harder, so it's a great way to sharpen your skills. And it really does get hard, guys. So transforming Flexbox into CSS grid, you have to remove flex and flex call and replace them with grid, which will basically enables CSS grid. Then grid calls 3, which will create 3 equal columns, and gap 2, adding spacing between the elements. You can give empty2 and mx2 as well, which will add top and horizontal margins. Now the circles are placed in 3-column layout. If you will change grid calls 3 to grid calls 5, and you will get 5 columns. Now, similar to Flexbox Froggy, Grid Garden is a game where you position elements to grow a garden using CSS grid properties. It's a fun and interactive way to master grid layouts. Responsive design made easy with Tailwinds. Tailwind simplifies responsive designs using mobile-first breakpoints. So SM is for small screens, MD is for medium screens, and LG is for large screens, whereas XL is for extra large screens. For example, let's start with a very simple one. Div class equals to W full, MD colon W 1 by 2, LG colon W 1 by 3, and on small screens the box is full width, right? When we are putting MD, it means that cut down the width to half. And when we are saying that on larger screens, it's just one third of the actual width. This allows your layouts to adapt to different devices automatically. Now, you know how to position elements, right? You also know how to use flexbox, grids, and a little bit about the responsive designs. Let's take a deep dive into it. Tailwind is a mobile first approach. In Tailwind, when we are generating responsive designs, it always starts with mobile first approach. And the first thing you need to know is it is by default a mobile first. That means instead of a styling for large screens first and then tweaking for mobile, you start with the mobile styles and layer on the changes for larger screens as needed. But here's where it gets interesting. Minimum width versus maximum width. If you will spot the difference, Tailwind's breakpoints are minimum width based. That means you can use something like MD colon. It applies a style to medium sized screen and larger, not a smaller. So if you add an HTML code and inside it you write p tag class MD block hidden appear on the screen wider than 768 pixels but not below that. So what's happening here? By default, the text is hidden, right? Because it is mobile first approach. So the default styling goes to the mobile size, and now you're writing that MD block. So it means that for all the screen sizes that are medium, that is greater than 768 pixels or more than that, it becomes visible again as a block display. Try resizing the window, you will see the text magically appears once you cross 768 pixels. What about maximum width? Now, what if you want to apply styles only on smaller screens? That's where the maximum width query comes in. Instead of MD, now you can use maximum MD. For example, inside this p tag, we will give the class as maximum MD BG red 500. This text has a red background on its screens smaller than 768 because we have given a maximum width, right? That when the screen is below 768, then you have to follow the style, otherwise not. So with the help of media queries, you have complete control. You can change anything, not just display properties. Let's make a div change background color based on screen size. Okay, so let's start with this div. Let's give it a class equals to bg blue 500, then sm colon bg green 500, md colon bg amber 700, lg colon bg purple 500, xl colon bg pink 500, and let's try it. So before trying, you have to understand that see, for the default mobile size, that is the devices that are smaller than 640 pixels, BG blue is working. At sizes, small sizes, that is 640 to 768 pixels, BG green is going to work. After having the size 768, we will have Ember 700. More than 1024 pixel, we will get a purple color. And after 1280 pixels, we are having a pink color. The larger the screen, the higher priority styles overrided the previous ones. That's how CSS works. So one of the biggest misconception that comes here is that using SM to target mobile screens. No. So when you write P class SM text center, it will be centered on a small screen. This won't center text on mobile. It actually centers text on screens that are 640 pixels and larger, right? So it basically goes up in the direction. So if you're writing class text center and then SM text left, it simply means that centered on mobile and left aligned on small screens. All right, so no prefix equals to applies to all screens. And if SM is given, then override it for small screens that are 640 pixels and above. So remember, unprefixed utilities target mobile and prefixed utilities apply changes at breakpoint and above. Why mobile first would be a simple question that we can have. So the answer is quite simple. Most users are using mobiles nowadays. So it makes sense to design for mobile first and then enhance for larger screens. It's also easier to scale up than to scale down. Mobile first approach forces you to focus on the essentials first, avoid unnecessary clutter, and improve performance. And if you want to add your own breakpoints, you totally can. So it is not like you have to use the predefined set breakpoints. You can use customized breakpoints as well. So we have to understand these few points. That is, Tailwind is mobile first. So style applies from that breakpoint and above. Larger breakpoints override smaller ones. You have to understand that as well. Then max width queries, that is max MD, if you need to style smaller screens specifically. And avoid using SM for mobile, it's for small screens and up. And last but not the least, you can customize breakpoints also and even use JIT for arbitrary values. Now that you know how to master responsive designs in Tailwind, you're good to go and put it to use. One more thing is about the dark mode and customization. All right, so let's talk dark mode because let's be real, we developers love it. A recent study on medium.com found that over 70% of software engineers prefer dark mode for their IDs. And honestly, it's not just IDs. We love dark themed website too. So let me show you how to easily do that and create and enable dark mode in Tailwind CSS. Enabling dark mode in Tailwind is super easy. Tailwind supports dark mode natively. You just have to add the dark prefix before a class. Let's say we have a simple div, right? And let's give it a style by using the classes bg white, dark colon bg black. So what it does, it gives by default a white color, but if dark mode is selected, then it gives a black color. And in the similar way, text black normally, and in the dark mode, dark colon text white. And let's give some padding as well, P4. By default, it has white background and black text, whereas in dark mode, it switches to black playground and white text, right? And that's it. Dark mode is now enabled. But how does Tailwind know when to switch? All right. So there is a system preference. By default, Tailwind automatically detects the user's operating system or browser theme preference. If you switch your operating system or browser to dark mode, your website will adjust instantly. But what if you want to add a manual toggle? Manually toggling dark mode is something that everybody wants in a website. Not everyone follows their system preferences, isn't it? So let's allow our users to toggle dark mode themselves. To do this, we need to modify Tailwind's configuration to manually add a .dark class. In your Tailwind config.js, you can enable dark mode manually, that is module exports equals to and dark mode class. All right. So it will enable the manual dark mode toggling. Now in your HTML, add a button that toggles the .dark class on document element. So just add this class into the button and document element class light toggle and dark we are giving. All right. So boom, now clicking the button switches between light and dark mode manually. Customizing shadows and utility classes is also a very important thing. Have you ever seen Shadow LG or Ring 1 or Ring Slate 900 in Tailwind? These are predefined shadows and border effects that you create depth and contrast with minimal efforts. And the best part, you don't need to memorize them. Just press Command plus K on the Tailwind CSS website, search for a class, and boom, you get a visual guide. Fully customized Tailwind with colors, fonts, and everything. So it's not like just the predefined things you can customize, rather, you can go for complete control. So if you want a color that's not included, no problem. You can define a custom color inline using square brackets. So P class text FF5733, this is a custom color. Works for colors, paddings, font sizes, and more. So now let's take a div, and inside it I'm mentioning class P16 pixel, text 36 pixel. Alright, so you can literally apply any value you want. Tailwind's JIT compiler will generate the CSS on the fly. So that was about this. You can enable dark mode very easily, right? Just use dark colon before any class. System based or manual toggle, both are supported, and customization unlimited. Define your colors, paddings, font sizes, or whatnot. With Tailwind, dark mode and full customization are just a few utility classes away. So now go ahead, make your website developer friendly and embrace the dark side.